Therapy. Anybody know how many times before? Three times before. So this does make the fourth. So you were right both times. So 3 times before, the original one appeared when we were in Islands of Adventure, and it was Islands of Fear, and it appeared in the lower level of the Discovery Center. They made it just like, you know, you go into the mental asylum, and they'd all kind of broken out of their cages and gone crazy, and they were just, you know, angry, crazy, angry, crazy people. If you remember that, anybody get to go through the house? I know you weren't coming yet. Anybody go through the original Psychoscareapy? No. Has anyone ever heard about the legend of the smell?
Yeah,
oh yeah, bathroom.
2006.
Does anyone know what it was? The smell?
Bathroom smell.
Yeah, a particular bathroom smell. As you went through, it was toward the end of the house, but the walls were smeared with it, and the room was pumped with the scent of it. So you really felt like you were in there, and the crazy people were using the bathroom on everything in the walls, and it was a very, very, very strong smell that permeated everything, including the restaurant right above the haunted house called Burger Digs. So you would go in to buy your hamburger, and you would have your nose burning with the smell of poo. I'm not sure how that sold food, but apparently they had really good sales records that year. They were concerned, but their records show they sold a lot of food. So apparently the smell of poo makes you want to eat. I'm not sure how that works.
It's logical.
But
it's out.
it did.
You gotta put in.
I guess. But this is our fourth, kind of a reincarnation of the Psychoscareapy house. It's done really well. We've had a lot of great feedback. We've had the last one was Home for the Holidays, where it was they got out into the neighborhood and during Christmas and went crazy and all kinds of fun stuff. So this year, the first time the asylum has been closed. It's been closed for 15 years. It's called Echoes of Shady Brook because it's the past. Everybody in here, it's another ghost house. Everybody is dead because the asylum's been closed. As you can tell, it's kind of becoming decrepit a little bit, kind of falling apart. The story is that high school kids like to hang out here though, and they like to tell ghost stories and set bonfires and drink. Although Universal Studios and Universal Orlando, Florida, does not permit underage drinking, just for the record. But apparently they like to come here and they like to drink, like to have a good time. They're actually, is anyone really from Orlando? Like, have you lived? Well, there used to, there used to be Sunnyland, and I remember going out there and really being freaked out. But I used to go out there before the kids got in and fell down the elevator shaft, and then they closed it down and they tore it down, which really kind of stinks because I liked going out there. It was neat. But it was the same kind of thing. You could always hear gangs hung out inside, and drugs, and all kinds of crazy stuff inside. But you see light in the window. It was kind of weird, and it was interesting. But this is similar to that, I think, in the fact that it's breaking down. It's decrepit, and Earth is kind of taking it back. But the high school kids decided to go in one night. As you can see here, they happen to lug a very expensive 200-pound ladder on the back of their moped, and they put it up against the wall, and they've climbed in. They've never made it back out. No one's ever heard from them again. So, because they've gone in, they've awoken all the spirits and the ghosts that are inside. So now we're going in to see what's going on. Interesting thing about their costumes and their makeup is everything is in grayscale. You'll see like blacks and grays and dirty whites, and because they are ghosts, so it's another ghost house for us. But these are really not nice, and everybody you're going to see appears in the way they were killed. So, like in the first room here, which is registration, the lobby. The nurse there has scissors through her eye, and that's because she was stabbed to death by an inmate with scissors in her head. So you'll see all the ghosts appear as the form they were when they were killed. And they're a little upset that they were killed, and they don't like us. Now, does anybody know the theme from Summer Place?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of becomes synonymous with Shady Brook. I think they chose it probably because of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the movie. That's where it was used. Nurse Ratched used to play it. That's why I love the song, because I love the movie. But of course, they've had it every year in Psychoscareapy, and it fits. I mean, it makes sense. And if you look there, you'll see the it's not really a 40, I think it's a 33 over there on the old record player as well. And this is where the nurse is. She was the registration nurse. And she'll greet you here with the scissors right in your face. Now, one thing I want to point out, too, does anybody remember the Freddy Krueger house?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you look on the bottom, on the floor right here, some of these drugs, they were the dream drugs that they were giving them in the Freddy Krueger house. So once again, it's props that have been recycled. Oh, good Lord, Mark. It's actually funny because I can never get scared when I go through the house, and you scared me like 3 times today. Now this hallway is the Hall of Windows. It took a lot of time to come up with a name for that. But what's interesting about it is a recreation of a room that's already existed, as we have several of those this year throughout Horror Nights. But if you remember the Dracula house last year, there was the bride room, where they had all the windows, and this is reminiscent of that. As you can tell, it looks like it's closed off, but there are certain areas that are wide open. So the actors run back and forth, and you think they're banging on windows, and all of a sudden they come through and they reach at you, and that's how they get you. And once again, as we're going through, you'll just kind of see where people have been camping out. There's coolers and liquor bottles, stuff in the face. So this is kind of like the common room or the reading room, where people would kind of gather and they would do activities, listen to music, read books, put together puzzles. If you've seen any type of movie that has a asylum, you've seen this type of room. And then of course, as you're coming through, on your left look, and you'll see on the shower curtain, Nurse Wallace must die. Obviously, someone didn't like Nurse Wallace because that's probably her blood. But Wallace is the last name of one of the, I believe she was on the art team and the scenic painting team. I don't know her exact position, but I know she's on the creative team. And her last name happens to be Wallace, so that's how they came up with Nurse Wallace. And as we're going through this corridor, again, it's just a random corridor in the hall until we get over here to the cells. And of course, this is not real iron. It's not real metal. But you'll see, now that it's torn open, you can kind of see back there, whereas you couldn't before, but things have changed. As you're coming through, pay attention to the hands, and they're all there. Now, the actors in this hallway also have their hands painted to look just like the fake hands here. Now, there's 2 ways they can get you. They can move the hands, just like Mark is doing, like this, which he does it much better than some of the scare actors I've seen in the house. This is really what's supposed to disillusion you. And then they reach through with their hands, and that's how they scare you. That's how they kind of freak you out. And one thing I want to point out, I should have done it before we came around the corner. On the other side of this wall right here, you'll see, how how they mark off the years or days or months or whatever. You'll see 4 sets of tick marks for 5, which equal 20 years. So you'll see, it's right, you can take a look, it's right here. I just saw it today for the first time, actually. 5, 10, 15. And you'll see little things like 20s. You'll see different forms of 20s pop up all over the place. But that's one that I just picked up on earlier today. And then there's little things on here like "Can't wait to kill your mom." That's always friendly. I can't even tell what this one is. Something will miss you. I don't know what the top says because it's covered by the mandatory exit sign, which typically won't necessarily be on when the house is operating, but if anything were ever to happen, it would come on just like that, and the path would be lit up for you to exit. Again, just another random hallway. You'll see little props on the walls like body fluid spill kits and cleanup kits, and these doors are all boo doors where the actors can come out and scare you. Nope, not that one, but I know that one does. This is a great scare too because you come around the corner and there's this really, really big guy in scrubs. And he just comes flying out of this door, and I see him scare people all the time. It's pretty awesome. And this is another one. This is another example. I like this one too because it's another one of those old hidden panels. It does, especially in the dark, you can't really tell it's a wall. And then when Mark opens it, boo! He can get you. And then this is a really good room because this is one where I get to see people get scared a lot because they have 3 actors in this little tiny space, one there, one here, and one here. There's a hidden one right over here, and they get you. It's usually 3 guys, and it's really awesome. Of course, as you're going through this hallway, you'll see it get a little more decrepit. You'll see more blood. You'll see where all the light fixtures have been stolen. People are coming in and stealing pipes, like copper pipes, because they obviously are worth money. So they've had vandals. And this is another one of those hallways with the doors. And as you're going through, they're all locked. They look like locked doors. And then this one throws you off because it looks locked like all the other ones, but then the actor comes out from the side that's not supposed to open and scares you. Oh, sorry, Mark. As I knock him out on the floor. Now here's our second Pepper's Ghost effect. This is Pissed Off Ghost. Again, it's a great name. Took some time to come up with it. But it's just another double pepper. So basically, you have the first screen way in the back, and you'll see the guy. You know, it's the mascot from 2004. You know, what's your breaking point? You see him kind of moving around in the straitjacket, and then he notices you, and he's really pissed off. So again, the same effect. He sees you, bam! He's on the screen right here in your face, screaming all of a sudden. Now here is our first ever. Oh, what happened to his hair, Mark? Oh my gosh. That's different. Anyway, you don't see it like this when you come through. It's very dimly lit, and you can just kind of tell there's someone back there. I'm not sure what happened to his hair. He used to have a full head of hair, and it stood up in the shape of Jack's hair.
They forced him in the shower or something.
Yeah, and he's in chemo too, I guess. This is our first ever guest activated trigger, GAT. They've existed in haunted houses for years and years and years. I know in Gatlinburg there were good ones. You know, you hit them with your feet, or you'd walk out in the thing and it was like the canopy was going to fall. And I mean, like they've been around, but it's the first time we've ever used GATs. You come around and you see, like, what is that? Is that Jack? You press this button, bam! This huge bell goes off. This light goes off, and that drops, and you just scream, and then it just resets itself. But the gas are the ones who activate the trigger. And more stuff in the face. Goodness. Yeah. Now this is our experimental therapy room. Of course, in the old asylums, especially if you've watched old movies, and if anyone has ever seen House on the Haunted Hill, especially, I mean, more so the remake than the original. I love the original, but the remake kind of introduces a lot of the techniques that we discuss here and that are brought up, like by Benjamin Rush, and they did a lot of experimental therapies that they thought would cure you, because they thought by sticking needles up your nose to your brain that it would cure you if you were a little off, or they thought that, you know, dunking you in water for hours would cure you, or they thought that doing ECT, electroconvulsive therapy, would cure you, which is basically electroshock therapy. Now here at Shady Brook, they've taken it to an extreme, and they pretty much strap you right into an electric chair. And of course, they thought that if you were, you know, maybe a little OCD or bipolar, which nowadays is just very common in the world, and it's really not so serious. I mean, there are extreme cases of any type of disorder, but they're pretty mild in most cases. Well, they would electrocute you, thinking that was going to cure you, because they always thought it was something wrong with your blood or the balance of chemicals in your body, or, you know, so they would do all their reasoning was that this would cure you, you know, to spin you in a room like they had the centrifuge, you know, like in House on Haunted Hill. They'd spin you around and around and around, and it really made you crazy. Like, doing it made you insane. You could be perfectly sane before they did it to you, and then you'd be nuts, or you'd be a vegetable. They thought that cured you. So here, they do electric shock therapy a little bit differently than the way you've seen it done with paddles. But there's also, there's two versions of this. There's the actor-activated trigger, where there's a nurse or a doctor in there that can press the button and trigger the electrocution. They can also come out and scare you. The nurse has this awful-looking saw blade thing that she pops out with over there. Or it can be set on a timer. If for some reason they can't be here, or if they have to change cast or something, God forbid, it happened to them, they can set it on a non-actor-activated trigger, so it'll be on the timer. Now, this is really just a distraction from the scare back here, because you're coming in looking at all this commotion, and you're backing away thinking you're going to be safe, and the actor comes up and just like that. And it's a pretty effective scare. Now, if he notices that he's getting you really good, he's going to get you again right here when you come around the corner. And now we have the padded room, the padded cells. And of course, there's some more ghosts in here waiting to scare you. And of course, you have two paths you can take, but you'll end up right back here.